Frogman Friday.
Yeah, boy.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to Frogman Friday. I'm Ryan Birdman Parrott. Today, our badass guest is Alex Racey, aka Lucky. He served 25 years in the U.S. Army Special Operations Command, exiting service as a Sergeant Major, or E9. He founded First Principles Performance in 2018, located in Castle Rock, Colorado. You can follow Alex on social media, handles to follow the show. To learn more about First Principles Performance, go check out fpp.llc. Brother, welcome to the show.
Hey, man. How are you, Ryan? Good to see you.
Good to see you too, brother. I love when I get somebody on who did a full career of service, because it always excites me to understand, like, you have a lot of background and then you start a company. I love the entrepreneurial side. Why did you found this company and what is it exactly?
Well, first of all, let me just say thanks for having me on a podcast that is titled Frogman Friday, because obviously I am a boots on the ground guy. When I went through Ranger Indoctrination Program back in 92, early 92, they had to extend the classification of weak swimmer for me just to, I passed, but it was a whole nother level of just beating the water for however long, I can't even remember, however long I had to swim in full gear with a rubber duck M16. So yeah, it's pretty cool to be on your show. I appreciate the opportunity very much. Now back to your question, which I'm surprised I can remember, because I go down rabbit holes sometimes. But the bottom line is, you know the deal, man. You're in the military and you've got the different things that you just kind of are drawn to. So we grew up in similar communities, and you had the guys whose kit was perfect, and you had the guys whose guns were perfect. I called them gun lickers because they were always like wiping on their rifles or pistols or sniper systems, whatever the case may be. And then you had the gym rats, and I like to have squared away kit, and I like to have guns that operated the way they were supposed to, and were clean and all of that. But I tended to just be drawn to the performance stuff more. So, more of the gym stuff is how people would probably think initially about that. But then when you got into like cognitive performance and just, recovering from, maybe a 3-day Sergeant Major event, or just a heavy week of mission sets overseas, or, recovering from an injury, whether that's, like the standard sprained ankle because of a fast rope that didn't go quite right, or actual some kind of combat related injury from an explosion, or trauma from a kinetic injury of some kind. It all that was more interesting to me. And so I just kind of was, as a guy in a unit for a long time, who goes from new guy to 2IC to team leader to up to instructor, to this, to that, up to troop sergeant major, you then become kind of a guide to the younger folks who can learn from all of the things you did wrong over your, the prior 10 years of your service or whatever. So I always like being able to help people skip the stupid stuff I did. And when I retired in 2016 and went to corporate America, I was sitting in meetings with men and women who were just making a ton of money, but they literally, it could be 7:00 in the morning and they're sipping a Mountain Dew, and they just look tired already and miserable. And I was, that's kind of where I got the idea to start a coaching business for everyone, where I could just be like, hey, I can help you fix your personal performance if and when you're ready, and you have the realization that's something you need to do. That I can help you with that. I've made similar mistakes in a different environment, and I can, we can use my mistakes and the things I obviously see you doing wrong that maybe you just never understood or learned about. I can help you with that.
Wow. So let's dig into that. First principles performance. So let's say, well, before that, what exactly is first principles performance?
I picked that name because of the scientific method, and I thought it was a cool name, right? So first principles performance, and I was able to get the domain. So firstprinciplesperformance.com is out there and I own it, but man, I got tired typing that in. So I switched it to fpp.llc, First Principles Performance LLC, which is the company I formed. It's basically like, hey, if I think about the scientific method and I pair that with how I choose to eat and how I choose to sleep and how I choose to move and how I choose to think, and I just use that kind of, hey, what might the problem be? How might I fix it? Let's test the theory. If it works, let's keep it and do more of it. If it doesn't work, let's get rid of it. That was kind of the genesis of the name First Principles Performance. And then as I started getting professional help, and it really, it became clear that the first thing I'm doing with the company is one-on-one coaching. Now when you go to the website, it obviously just immediately kind of focuses any visitor in on the fact that it's coaching, first principles performance coaching. And again, I have a process that I help anyone, vets, law enforcement, just civilians who never served, you name it, anyone who realizes that, hey, you know what, I have a lot of executive performance going for me. I'm very, whatever the case may be. I've got artists, I've got CEOs, I've got dentists, I've got administrators running massive offices. Whatever the case may be, when they, usually the team member realizes, hey, I've got all this going for me. Where I'm lacking is my personal performance. I don't have the mental, physical, emotional high performance that I want. And there's, and I just got introduced to this guy named Alex, who has helped a friend of mine or someone I know, an acquaintance, get their performance dialed in. So I'm going to see if he can help me.
It's an interesting concept. I really like this because I think the one thing I know for sure is you get better at what you're teaching when you teach it, right? So
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to figure out if you know something, teach it, right? Yeah.
That's exactly right. And the cool thing is that it's individualized so that as a client, you can come in knowing that you're getting 100% attention. And to that means, do you do group settings as well? Or is this just individually based coaching?
No, I wouldn't say, well, I would do a group. I don't do a group right now. I don't, again, the big push for me right now is to just be getting out there like I am with you on this podcast, so I can get more people knowing what I'm doing. My website, which actually, I'm not a website designer, so I hired a company local here to Colorado that's been helping me get that design. My full blown website, where there'll be a lot more information and a lot more ability to connect with me, will be up and running here in the next few days. I would love to do a group. I have a 6-month group program designed, but the key to that is this, I can't do any of the work for the people, right? So anyone in the group who comes in, let's say it was a small business, and if you came into a group coaching session with me and you listened to everything that I taught you and you're like, oh, that was neat, and then you don't apply any of the systems to how you're living your life, you're not going to get any results. And so it's going to be a waste of your time and your money. So what I want to do in the future is develop a system where I can basically say, hey, if you want to join a group coaching program, here's what the container looks like. Here's where here's your buy-in. So that we get, a group of 10, 12, 15 really motivated people to make change, because I think well, you know the deal. How cool is it to be a new guy on a team of commandos? Like, how is your learning curve in that environment? It's amazing, right? So there's a huge plus to the growth of an individual and a group when they're all rowing the boat in the same direction. And that was another little water commando reference here for you as a SEAL. But
thank you for that. I feel like we're starting to
get so, but anyway, yeah. So I'm all in. I've got it designed, but I'm not currently doing groups. I'm just doing one-on-one.
Okay. Well, that's interesting.
One-on-one, and there's a lot of similarities. I have a start point that I take clients through, but they all are different. It's not, oh, this cookie cutter approach works for everyone. So that's kind of the sweet thing about one-on-one. We can really tailor things to the individual. And now I've got almost 4 years of experience working just with civilians, whether they were prior service or not, at this point. So I've used all of that to build how I would incorporate everything I've learned into a group. And I think that would be really cool. So yeah, if anyone's listening, obviously you're going to easily be able to contact me after this. I'd love to bat this around with you.
So this is fantastic. And what I'm excited about is that I'm actually a pseudo client of Alex's. So I kind of explain it when I talk to some buddies, and that is that Alex will actually take you from your world, because we all try to do like amazing things in our lifetime after service. And so we turn, and we try to get the business working and flowing. And then our personal life starts to fall apart because we want to put effort into where we believe it makes the most sense. And while the company might be going great, which they're never perfect, you're not great. And so Alex will actually take you. I always laugh. I say he'll grab you by the head. He won't really grab you though. Maybe, depends on how your attitude is for the day. But he grab you and he'll pull you outside of your world, over your world, and look down, and then start to show you what's missing and really start to hone in on that stuff more on the performance side of the house. But that way he can really help you look at what you're missing to better achieve what we would define as success. And it's not just financial success. So it's very, very cool. And he's also incredibly intelligent. He'll say that he's a knuckle dragger. I've heard it 1,000 times, but he's incredibly intelligent. So he makes you think a different way, which is very, very powerful for me, because I get stuck in the habit of just thinking one way. And so this is a very eye-opening experience for me too. So you've been doing this 4 years, working with clients from all different demographics. If I were a client of yours and I just signed up, what am I going to expect over in the next couple of weeks?
So over what I call the reckoning period, you're gonna get a journal so that you can just write down what you're eating, subjectively how you feel you're sleeping, and you'll also be able to capture what your movement plan looks like if you have one at that point. Workout. So there's a whole, it's a straight up 8.5 by 11 journal. The front of each day's page is eat, sleep, move, and then you have a whole page on the back for journaling your thoughts, things that are going on in your brain. It is amazing what changes just when you have to start writing down that, hey, if I drink this Dr. Pepper at 6:30 a.m., I'm gonna have to write this down for Alex. And so the goal is to capture what normal looks like, so we can then make adjustments from normal. But the journal actually immediately causes change. Regardless, we still have something to work with as a baseline. First thing I want to know, and I want the client to know, because it can get lost in the sauce pretty quick, how much progress they make, right? They're always focused, forward, and they forget to look back to see how far they've come. So we definitely want to identify where the start point is. I also make them get a DEXA scan, which is a body composition scan. That just tells you where all the muscle and where all the fat is. And knowing that day one, before we really get into the work, is again hugely beneficial, because it's amazing how fast, especially visceral fat, if you have a scan that has a visceral fat computation available, that stuff goes quick when you make some significant changes to when you eat, what you eat, and how much you eat. So it's all baseline for the first couple weeks, and then we kind of get into my systems. I also, I take, we talked about education. You know it, I know it. They say people have to hear things 7 times before they really hear it, right? So based on where you and I come from, we know you probably could multiply that by like 10 in some cases. Oh, I have to hear it 70 times before I learn it. So it's just really hammering on better basics. That's kind of what I have called my program. Oh, this is just better basics program. Because again, you and I know the difference between someone who dresses like a commando and someone who is a commando is just that constant focus on doing the basics really well. Now we focused on shoot, move, communicate. But if you kind of roll that over and you think about a high performance realtor versus a high performance commando, they still need to have, excess capacity in physical, mental, and emotional domains, even though it looks totally different for those two individuals. You still just focus on really good basics. And so again, people react a little differently to food and what works for them for sleep, what works for them for a movement plan that includes working out eventually. And, the mindset stuff for everyone's a little different too. Everybody hears and learns and latches on to ideas that work for them differently. But we just hammer on the basics over and over again. And then when we get some good results, we record that as well, right? And then that's our new baseline. So our best work for the first 6 months, we're like, right on, high five, celebrate. We celebrate all the time. If you're not having it might be hard sometimes, but it's always going to be fun. Because if you're not having fun, I'm not having fun. I like to have fun. So that really great work that gets accomplished in 6 months, let's say, well, now that's just our new baseline. And we keep we keep turning the knobs on the dials and keep dialing it in and figuring out what works. Moms who are in one space from a schedule standpoint during the school year, I run this office, but I also got to, here's all my other duties with my 4 kids. How do we build a better basics program around all that, eat, sleep, move, think wise? Well, then in the summer, it's like, oh, we got this great design, and let's throw all that up in the air. And then it's like, okay, now we got to figure out how this works during the summer. And we got to figure it out while the family's on vacation in Italy or Japan or whatever. So there's always work to do. There's always new environments to incorporate, these systems around. And I just love helping people do it,
Well, that's really cool. I mean, what you're doing is essentially building an ecosystem for accountability. And I love that because, something that we're familiar with, you're accountable to your team, you're accountable to the military. And so it's easy for you to perform at a high level because you have to do your part. When you get out, it's on you at that point. So then we tend to we lack accountability. So building that ecosystem into place where you have the accountability. And I'll tell you this right now, accountability comes in so many different forms, right? You could force feed stuff down people's throat and make them feel, upset if they didn't complete the mission. That's not Alex at all. He gives you the information and in a way that you can actually achieve it, but motivates you through it. So it's not as hard as you would consider it to be. And that's something I like because we all need accountability. Every one of us need accountability, but some people need it just a little differently than the military would provide. So this is really cool stuff. And you said that your future goals is to actually build teams to actually go out, deploy to individuals, corporations, to be able to teach what you've put together so that you can spread this to the masses and really grow the better basics, right?
Right on. Yeah. And honestly, eventually, I don't know what it's going to look like. I just built a company page on LinkedIn, and I would love to think that veterans from all the services will stumble onto it or whatever I'm doing. Remember that description of my first swim test? That's kind of my IG right now. Instagram is it's like a post and run, and it's ugly, but eventually, I want to be getting information out there that's useful. Everything I do for any individual would work for someone getting out of the military, regardless of their injuries. I got all kinds of baggage from service that I'm happy to have. I would do it all again tomorrow. But like, it's all the same. It's not like, well, you don't understand, I'm a vet. Well, you don't understand, I run this company. Well, you don't understand, I'm this, I'm that. I got this problem, I got that problem. Like my approach, which I try to deliver at the third grade level, is one of my joking, not like, all joking aside, my goal is to be able to explain concepts to people at the third grade level. So, that usually people who have had a successful or semi-successful military career finish the third grade. My stuff works, man. My stuff would work for veterans of all shapes and sizes. And I would love to, I'd love to be a player in helping people, just like, not like you see it, I see it. You see the hats or the license plates, and then you're like, wow, we all get a basic understanding of how to take care of ourselves in the military. Even the Navy guys that aren't SEALs, I got a prior Navy officer dentist, and he learned a little bit about how to take care of himself while he was in the Navy. But it's like, they're like, oh, I'm leaving the military. And I don't know if it was like I heard somebody saying the other day that they don't like push-ups because it reminds them of like getting smoked when they were new in the military. And I don't know if that's it or what, but it's like, anything to do with working out I hate it, because people used it as a tool to rule over me in the Army, Navy, Marines, whatever. So I'm not going to do it now that I'm out. And it's so integral to everything you need to do in life, regardless of what you're doing and what you want to do. You got to have a movement plan. You got to take care of yourself from a sleep standpoint. You got to take care of your eat. And the thoughts are a big one too, but it's like the whole, before you can do anything cool to help anyone else, you got to put your own oxygen mask on first, right? So and I'm sorry, I'm all hopped up on coffee, and I already got my running today, so I'll stop there.
Hey, everybody listening, don't let him kid you. He's like this 24/7. Okay, he's not just the coffee right now. He is always fired up. Still got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, we froze for a second, but I'll tell Landon to edit that, no problem. So, all right, let's kick it back up. Let's make sure I see it come back up. All right, perfect. All right, so tell me real quick. I always like to end this show with something special. So why don't you give me a quick story of a hero of yours, a brother that either taught you something meaningful, a brother that gave his life for this country, or somebody just served to the highest level. Tell us a story about that person so we could always remember him.
Right on. So lots of people to choose from with that question. I'm going to just talk about a guy, and I'll use his call sign. His call sign was Stump. You always put a Y on call signs, right? So it's like, we call him Stumpy. He was my boss for a few years, still a friend. And that was during war. This guy, he just taught me to, as much as I already had that never give up attitude, this guy just took this to the next level. I mean, if there was just like a 1% of 1% chance he could get, to a better position in a gunfight or whatever, he would completely, now he was not dangerous to any of us on his team or anything, but he would definitely hang it out personally a little bit to make sure he was doing everything he could to do whatever we happened to be doing to the best of our ability. He whether that was eliminating the threat or getting into a better position on a target, using some second world country 500-year-old ladder that might or might not break and cause him to fall 30-35 feet into an alleyway. Not that this happened or anything, but he was that kind of guy where he was just on fire for being aggressive and doing what we were out there to do. And he, and that was whether he was in the parking lot, like just messing around on a motorcycle or whatever. That's kind of how he approaches life. He still approaches life that way to this day. And he is, so yeah, man, shout out to Stumpy out there for always making me really haven't gotten anywhere close, considering how he led by example.
That's awesome. I'm always amazed when I meet guys like that. There was a couple that I had met over my 8 years in service that I was like, my gosh, like there's not even a potential to measure up to them. So I'm just going to follow because it's a spectacular thing to watch them go. And it just motivates you to be at your peak. And then you can accept that your peak is maybe not theirs, but at least you got something to shoot for. So that's pretty cool. Stumpy, right on. Remember Stumpy, super legend who did a ton for our country. That's awesome.
And there, based on who you are and probably your audience, there'll be quite a few people who will be like, I know who he's talking about. I know. And that's that'll make this even more delicious as it comes back around to me. But yeah, it was I was his 2IC. I brought we were a good team as far as running the show. So anyway, yeah, awesome.
Right on, brother. Well, I appreciate you coming on today, brother. We're going to push all this out so everybody can see this. If you want to get a hold of Alex, information will be right following this show so you can connect with him directly to get your coaching on. Remember, it's First Principles Performance. You can go check out his website at fpp.llc and you can learn more information and you can contact him directly and hit him up on social to stay tuned. And I definitely suggest you do it. There's no time like the present to get better in all forms of your life. So make the change today. Contact Alex and let's get after it. Brother, have a great day. And thanks for being on.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. Good to see you.
Yeah, you too. We'll catch you.